matching up to aiming. So definitely have to step up a bit here individually as we're getting ready for the draft for game 1.
Blue side here with side selection for Dplus Kia means that they will have the first pick here, and that will warp how Bro decide to draft. We've seen a lot of changes to drafting this week here on 25-16 with Pantheon being left open a lot of the time, especially in Rise Group, to grab picks like the Wukong and the Wukong Annie rotation. See if that does come to pass here as the Yunara will be banned away. That's also been left up sometimes to mixed results. Don't try to play it into Ruler's Corky Nico with Duro on the side. Viper learned.
It looks like we're just going to get the Yap bans here from the side of OK Man BRION, the YAP.
Well, if Wukong isn't banned here, they may, again, opt to trade for that Annie Wukong.
The yaw.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, they just ban something else and give Pantheon, then take Annie Wukong on their side.
Yeah.
They could ban, for example, an Orianna and take that away. The Rumble banned here, taking that away from Morgan as the final ban. Taliyah gone, so the trade of Taliyah Azir not going to be a factor here. So do you leave Pantheon up, or do you just yap it and say, your move, Dplus? Lucid Xin Zhao, kind of an issue. I don't know if it's first pickable here, but it's certainly something they could consider.
Yeah, that is true. I think they were playing on the red side in that game, so it kind of made more sense for him to pick it up. It's going to be the Wukong ban.
Interesting that they would ban both the Yunara and the Wukong here. And now Pantheon is up. They must have an answer to this, or at least in their minds, an answer to the Pantheon that's not Annie Wukong.
This is like, oh man, I really wanted to play Xin Zhao. Come on, guys. I don't want to play Pantheon. He's probably going to have to.
I think he certainly will, because Pantheon Annie is pretty good as well. And
he said it twice there. Nope, he didn't.
Maybe he's saying what they're going to pick on the other side.
Perhaps.
All right, well, they took the Annie away.
So
that's a start.
Rise Group pick.
Don't tell me we've pushed Rise Xin Zhao into R1, R2 Game 1 Valdez, not Game 2, R1, R2 Rise Xin Zhao, no. Galio has been the most common answer to Annie, but instead we'll see the Orianna to come through. Orianna Jarvan feels incredibly powerful, but the Pantheon is just still up. It's not the same type of ball carrier, but still relatively decent. And because of his shield, he can close the gap with that and then go on to somebody with a stun, set up a combo that way.
Yeah, a little bit more short range in terms of the engage, so I'm glad you do point that out. As Lucian's, he's got a little grin. He's like, hell yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. No! He's swapping over to Jarvan.
The Jarvan is so strong in this situation because it deters a Sivir pick.
Oh.
And
maybe game 2.
We may just simply not see the Sivir now at all for Bro, since this has been locked in. Let's see what the final pick is going to be here. It could just be that aiming or barrel will lock in. They wanted to push something up like the Alistar and be strong with this composition. I don't think we're going to see a Bard at this point blind. So we'll just see the Aurora, which is in fact going to be blind in this case. I don't think we're going to see support Annie.
No.
I mean, it's barrel, so it's possible, not. You know, I suppose.
Yeah, it is possible. It's Rise Group, baby. Anything could happen. And Morgan has to decide, do I pick something here?
It's a great deterrent to Gwen, that's for sure. I don't think he was necessarily planning on picking it in this R3 spot, and he will go for the Ambessa here instead. So we're going to go into the second phase with our top side completely locked in, but no real idea about what that bottom side looks like just yet. For Dplus Kia, you have very strong engage and some great follow-up. So even something like Azeri works really well for them because it's really easy to clean up those kills after the Annie, Jarvan, Aurora go in and hit the front line. So we'll see if that's something that Bro want to take away. Kai'Sa works well with this too, and so they might also ban that. Whereas Bro's composition has more conditional engage. Doesn't have a strong side lane threat per se because it's Ambessa laning into Aurora. The Orianna has a lot of wave clear but isn't safe that much in side lanes, so the Pantheon doesn't work too well with it yet.
Yeah, it definitely feels more like a big team fighting comp, you know, power of friendship, a lot of synergy. You got the Ambessa to access the back line alongside of the Pantheon, potentially.
Jhin feels pretty good for Bro's comp. They took the Nico away, which is usually, I mean, Nico's incredibly strong with this comp here for Dplus Kia, all the circles, etc., all the CC they already have, but it's usually a ban that is trying to protect your bottom lane 2v2 more than anything else. And Paulo is a pretty decent Nico player himself. Not the best in the Rise group, but he decides to take that away. So I'm wondering what the angle here is going to be for what their bottom lane is going to look like. There's that Alistar I mentioned that Barrow might have wanted to push up instead of the Aurora. And that's now no longer an option. Taking a lot of engaged supports away here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the next on the chopping block would be something like a Rel. And then you're kind of left with, you know, the Leonas of the world if we go that far in terms of banning engaged supports.
Paulo loves his Rel.
Poppy.
He's not going to be playing the Poppy this time. As will we just see that Jhin to come through with the front line they have here. Pretty safe into this Jarvan Annie composition as well because he's going to be following up from long range. Tough to engage on. Ezreal, another consideration, I suppose, that's pretty safe here.
It's either super long range or you get something that's got mobility, or you just pick the Rel, which with the Poppy band and the Alistar band and not a lot of engaged supports, you just take away.
Okay, Corki going to feel pretty good into trading with the Rel when she looks for her Shattering Strikes or Crash Downs in the lane. Just incredibly powerful in the 2v2. Great follow-up. It's a different type of follow-up to Jhin. Like, Jhin doesn't go in, he just follows up from far away, whereas Corki follows up from far away by going in and doing a ton of damage when he hits his 2-item spike. They're going to lock it. And with no Nico here, and this comp not really being that much of a Bard angle, you could set up some combos with Bard or even Cataclysm into Bard into Annie, but might just be begin with that Leona pick you were talking about just for follow-up engage. Barrel with a lot to say about it. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think this is the Janna angle that maybe some Janna enthusiasts be asking for. He is hovering the Bard.
I mean, what we saw yesterday, again, from Carrier, I was watching that and I'm like, everybody should be playing Bard. Like, just how strong it is into engage, as set up. Yes, it's very difficult, but as the players get better and better at it, it just feels so good. As we're picking Sivir into Jarvan, yes, it's good into Bard, but I'm not sure about it against the rest of the comp.
Yeah, we've seen so many times the Sivir picked into the Bard because you can spell shield the Tempered Fate. It's very safe, but you know, when you're an 80 carry, if you're thinking about Tempered Fate as your win con, you know, I can shut that down, then your comp has other issues, I think.
Yeah.
The Jarvan is going to smash this Sivir. There's so many types of CC, there's so many ways to pop that spell shield, they only have one opportunity to use that. I think this comp really is more about trying to set up the mid-prio so the Pantheon has a little bit more agency to roam around the map and make those ganks happen in side lanes with this Ambessa. But I think in terms of team fights, I really like more what Dplus Kia put together here. They also have the Aurora into the Ambessa matchup, which can be quite powerful if played well. So there's a lot of pressure on each individual laner here for the side of Bro, and then their teamwork in team fights has to be good. And Paulo, flip a coin on those Rel engages, because on heads, it's like some of the best you've ever seen. Yeah. But on tails, he's just going in, he's missing everything. And I hate to say that about Paulo. He's our favorite green giant, you know? Yeah. But he's had some ups and he's had some downs, and it's this pick in particular that I always think of when I think of Paulo's greatest engages, but also his biggest flubs.
Yeah. Two different types of albums there. Well, let's hope we get the greatest hits from him this time around, as he could be a big game changer on that Rel in this game number one. We're ready. It's DK versus Bro for game number one.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, game number one between these two. DK looking for revenge and also to attempt to get Bro out of play-ins. You know, they don't have a lot to play for themselves, potentially, but also, you know, if Bro get into play-ins, you play a best of 5 against Bro, maybe that gets a little scary if you are Dplus Kia. Maybe even more than any other team that they might have to face. So, you know, take them down here, give TRX a chance to catch up.
If Bro lose here, their fate is not entirely in their hands, right? Like, you know, it is in the matchup against DRX in the final match, but DRX, if they win both matches, like, they're just in no matter what, right? If you win here as Bro, you have a lot more wiggle room. If DRX loses either of those matchups, you're already ahead in game score right now. So even taking a single game puts you one step closer to having that gap advantage you need to secure play-ins, but winning the series outright feels like, and then DRX have to beat you directly as well as B&K in order to pass you, so ends up giving you such an extra edge here. And I think when you look at the history between these two teams, if you haven't watched recent form, I think that's part of why our Team Snowball has Bro at such a high win percentage. You're like, oh, of course they beat Dplus again. Like, keep doing that. Yeah. Surely it'll happen a third time in a row.
Yeah, I mean, the stats don't lie, do they? The percentage is absolutely accurate. We're taking a look at some of the runes that we have here. Big fan of the Phase Rush on as many people as can take it, but also do have the Unsealed Spellbook for both of these supports.
You do see the rare Electrocute Ambessa into the Aurora. This is really common to see in this matchup specifically, so that the Ambessa has a little bit of power to trade. It's so rare that you actually take Electrocute as a melee champion into a ranged champion, but because Ambessa has so many dashes, she can actually proc the Electrocute relatively well, unless she outspaces you and just prevents you from proccing it, in which case you just feel sad. And that's going to be Morgan until he hits level 3.
So the Rise group has been having a lot of success with the Annie.
We've taken the Wukong out of the equation. We're like, all right, let's keep the number high and just put Annie in.
So Paulo going to miss there and actually take a bunch of damage after the fact. Definitely getting bullied. This is what happens when you blind pick Rel, right? I mean, this is kind of just meant to happen. And there's not really much that Hype and Palu can do about it, except look for all-ins, but you're not really in a position to do that right now, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you could see trying to spell shield a Bard Q, and
I thought you said Rum. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, we're all trying to dodge.
Interesting kind of bro and brood today, I guess. A little bit more action-packed, you know.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere right here. It's 5:11. But yeah, I mean, this lane is what we knew was going to be a problem with almost any support here with Corki, because when Rel tries to go in for the trade, you just shred those resistances. But when you have a ranged support like the Bard in this case, or the Rum in this case, then it's kind of an issue for Palu. Every time you miss or every time you try to go for those engages, it really hurts. And that's also part of the reason I think we see Corki coming back into the meta, is because we don't see the Aftershock anymore. It's just Spellbook. So Corki's like, I love these trades, man, even if you hit me. Paula, where are you going?
Yeah, he was going very far up the lane. I'm not sure exactly why, but perhaps didn't expect Beryl to be there, and Beryl just threatened him with a binding. So Paula now doesn't have flash or heal after that little bit of a whoopsie.
It looks like because there's a ward in the northernmost brush, I think he knew that, so he's like, I can't back in that brush, so I need to back on the mid brush. So he tried to go up and hope they didn't see him. I think that's what happened. Either way, he now has his AD carry alone in the top lane and is still struggling to back as Beryl continues to prevent him from doing so, as that brush was still warded when he tried it a second time there.
Yeah, he'll go back. I like this swap from Bro because every lane was losing. Like, Morgan was losing, even Closer was losing to Annie. So that's a bit of a iffy kind of situation there. And then also their bottom lane obviously was losing, which makes a lot of sense. There's not a lot of winning lanes for Bro, so they're just going to try to swap it up and see what happens.
Yeah, you get out of this tough Corki Bard lane, and you get your Ambessa out of the lane into the Aurora. It's still not going to be like Ambessa's like, aha, I win this 1v2, but you're supposed to lose 1v2 in a top line matchup. Otherwise, you want to get as close as possible. And then also the Aurora can hold her own into this Sivir Rel lane pretty well. So you get out of one bad situation. You're now in like less bad, but still not great.
Yeah. We'll harass Tibbers coming down here on a Closer. Do as much damage as possible. Lucid is nearby alongside of Tibbers, but Closer playing very safe in this lane, actually. He's mostly just been hugging the turret. He's down some CS in this one because of that. And again, this just means that Lucid gets to do whatever he wants. Like, this is a jungler's happiest kind of game where every lane is winning, and yeah, you don't necessarily get great gank opportunities because everybody's hugging their turret, but maybe you get some dive opportunities. Maybe you can take some extra camps.
Yeah, you get to take any part of the jungle you want. A Showmaker is going to play very aggressively here. That was a near opportunity there for Krako. And at the end of the day, they maintain prio, and like we were saying, you get first, right of refusal on Drake. You get first right of refusal on a potential invade into the blue buff, which he may go for after said Drake if they want to, because his Corki lane is absolutely decimating Hype and Paulo, who have now returned to this lane. Morgan finds himself 20 farm behind because he also swapped down here, was losing the lane before, then loses the lane in the swap, and so Dplus just running this early game from Prio alone.
I mean, it's 1,000 gold the lead for DK, and nothing has happened. They're just naturally getting this massive lead early on. It's a big problem for Bro, and it's something that Duke actually mentioned in their most recent interview. He was like, we really got to get better at these early laning phases. Now, when you look at the draft and you look at the lanes, they're not exactly giving themselves a lot to work with, right? So it's like, we got a losing lane top, we got a losing lane bot, and mid should be okay, but it's not. That might be the one where you look at and say, okay, we can improve there, but yeah, it's just not a great situation for them in the early game.
Yeah. A great situation for the items I see in Closer's inventory for any mid-game team fights either.
It's taking a page out of Chovy's book.
Yeah, sometimes Chovy is the only one who could read that book, is the only one who could decipher it. Others have tried to copy his works.
Yeah, that's like the sealed spellbook.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the unsealed one that anybody can access.
Double haunting guys,
Yeah.
Max W second on Ziggs. It's some forbidden tech. Like, we all
Rod of
know.
Ages on everybody, including Ziggs.
Prophet Ox has spoken of this at length.
Yeah.
And yet Chovy still turns to what some would consider unnatural.
He shouldn't be allowed to do that, but he's trying to transcend the league.
Break with tradition.
Yeah. So Lucid got the Drake, and now he's going to get all 3 of the grubs. He hasn't invaded a lot. He's behind 2 CS, but I don't think he cares because he's getting everything for his team, and he's feeling very good about it.
I mean, Showmaker's just using Tibbers for Prio, just dropping it on Closer repeatedly here, knowing that TPs are down for both of them. That's going to guarantee he can rotate faster. They're still winning this top 2v2. Barrel has Tempered Fate, so there's even the consideration potentially here of coming up and trying to gank some sums if you're Lucid. He doesn't decide to do that, does just come down and start clearing his jungle again, but they just have so much agency. His Barrel isn't even going to get Paulo to get out of here by just surfing over the wall.
Yeah. I like how he was hiding on that bush, and he was just like, I'm not here, but I'm also immediately available if necessary, because I am Bard. And I can also scout for any junglers that are coming up, so.
And they likely know, like, they don't know exactly where he is. He could be looking for a gank mid as CSL ult.
Yeah, nice little play here from Closer, but it's mainly just for Prio, not going to look for any kind of kill. Showmaker is just fine. Looks like he's got a refillable as well.
Now, even though we don't like this build necessarily, at least I'm the one who said I didn't really like it as much for Closer, it is going to really help him start to take control of this lane, as he has the extra Catalyst sustain, which will keep him full health, and so he can just kind of continue to push the ante like that. So you can see a bit of a turn once that item comes through versus the Boots of Lucidity that Showmaker puts up. That'll help him get his stuns up more often, but Closer can just kind of battle his way through now. So that's somewhat of a turning point, as Barrel is everywhere, man. He's looking for a second opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we have an ult coming through here. Oh, not going to land the stun, though, so Hype, I think, just kind of runs it off with his ult. On the hunt, more like on the retreat.
Yeah. Hunting safety in this case.
Yeah.
At least he was able
always
to find
wear
his
your
prey.
goggles. I actually know nothing about hunting. They're always wearing goggles for some reason.
Well, I mean, I said safety, so in my mind, I thought you were talking about like, like lab goggles
Yeah,
for
like
safety.
a chemist
lab
or something.
safety. Yeah. Hunting safety, get those plastic glasses that your teacher told you to wear. That will definitely help against small splashes, but otherwise, just be careful. It's
better than nothing.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, Barrel just made a decent impact there. Came mid, pushed Closer back, but wasn't able to get anything permanent. Was hiding that bush for a while, which probably made the Bro Bottom do think, oh, there's possibly a Lucid dive coming, a Tempered Fate. The turret, he doesn't obviously go for anything like that, but just constantly applying pressure as Bard really well in this game. A good sign for Barrel's form on this pick, which has been up and down. Enough to win a world championship. So that's the biggest up, I'd say.
Yeah.
Even though his form on the day on the pick was not everyone's favorite. But still got the trophy.
Got the trophy, that's all that matters. And I think it's just natural that Bard is becoming more and more prevalent. It's a very high skill ceiling champion, but the more you play it, the better you get at it. The more you see examples of it playing well, the more you know how to utilize it.
Now, speaking of trophies, we both junglers have their Sundered Sky, which is the trophy item right now. And tons of vision around this dragon here for Bro. It's the second dragon. They want to secure this denied double dragon here for Dplus, but they don't have control of their vision, and Dplus are able to clear this away as Morgan misses an ultimate. And Shiyu has TP advantage, actually. This is somewhat disastrous for Bro, in fact, because he could just show up here at a moment's notice, and Dplus are definitely primed to look for a fight here.
And there's no real way for Morgan to stop that TP from coming in either, so with that ultimate gone, I feel like DK, as long as they, check all the boxes, clear out all the vision, nobody gets caught, they should be just fine. Showmaker did use Tibbers pretty early on here to try to chunk out Closer, but as you mentioned before, Closer's just fine. Looks like Hype wanted to go for a back, maybe looking for that first item, but he gets his back denied. So I feel like that's another win for DK to just go ahead and try to start up the streak and take it for free.
They had the vision, but they weren't able to protect it. They weren't able to group for it. And Closer, like, he had plenty of health, but he's still got no offensive capabilities or really great setup to look for a ball, a big shockwave in this team fight, even though he had that ult advantage over Showmaker that you pointed out. So Dplus are just like, he got TP advantage topside. I think that's why we saw that all-in attempt from Morgan there. He's like, well, I at least got to get his health. I don't think he thinks he can kill there, but he's like, if we get his health low, he'll have to back. He'll have to either then decide to TP to the fight or give me plate gold in the top side, but he misses the ultimate. And so they just don't get anything here. It is Chemtech Soul off the double dragon, so pretty low roll here for Dplus, but they get the objective just the same. All three. And objective feats of strength here as fast as humanly possible go to Dplus Kia.
Yeah. Hype is not going to back again. He's tried to back like 4 times. This time he chooses not to, just to make sure he picks up the wave, but like, I do wonder how much gold he's sitting on and how long he's going to stay there without getting his item. He finishes his call, which is also important, so maybe needed that little bit of extra. But again, still no first blood. 14 minutes into game number 1. Nobody has died. There's really been a lack of action across the board. It's just been kind of DK getting everything and Bro accepting that fact. At least they've shored up a lot of the gold deficits from the lane, so Bro have that going for them. As Paulo's just going to throw out the ult here, and the Mega Cone out from Lucid means that we don't have the Magnet Storm coming in from the side of Paulo, but we have the rest of the engage. The Shockwave going to hit Barrel only, as now Lucid is totally fine, and everybody's baited into the Aurora ult. In comes Lucid with the Mega Cone engage. They try to turn onto him. A lot of CC comes out from him, but that's going to be about it, as he does go down, as eventually Paulo as well will follow suit. Really, the only question is when, as that'll be the win for DK in this fight. As down he goes, the kill goes to Barrel.
Barrel notorious for being a bloodthirsty bard. He is getting a lot of the kills when he's on this pick. Gets that one there, because he's the one who is able to check and find Paulo as Hype.
Oh boy.
Not going to enjoy his time here. Nobody enjoys their time laning into Corki in the mid lane, especially when that Triforce is done. Paulo gets caught here initially, trying to clear vision out. Uses Magnet Storm to try to buy time, because Morgan's rotating over. He has his ultimate right. They have the Pantheon ult. And this looks initially like, sure, we don't have the Rel ult, but we can turn on this. But Tempered Fate's pretty strong.
A little dive on a Showmaker, but he's totally fine, and Krakos is dead! Looks like a dive went horrifically wrong in the bottom lane, as that's going to be feats of strength here for the side of Dplus Kia, and they're getting everything now in this early game.
Yeah, this is starting to feel like it's going to turn into an insurmountable lead. So this is Showmaker just trying to get back to lane. The timing of this is just off, and the stun here onto Krako as he goes for the engage under turret Ragro, and now I don't even want to know what's going on down here.
Yeah, Apollo a bit zoned, and yeah, Barrel gonna take that kill, absolutely. Could have maybe waited for Tibbers to get the kill, but that's a little bit dangerous. You're wasting a lot of time. So better to just take it. Now we got a 2-0-1 Barrel Bard. I do wonder what the second item will be. Probably just more control wards knowing Barrel. But yeah, this is Bro. It looks like they're trying to be proactive and set stuff up, but they're just kind of stripping over their own shoelaces.
Backfiring. Like, I can really give the first fight to Bro because that looked like a pretty nice angle. They go into the choke point, though. Showmaker gets a lot of value. He has a really nice cone stun as well towards the later end of that fight. And then the Aurora ultimate as well on top of everything. The Tempered Fate is what buys them the time to get into position to fight it. But from Bro's perspective, it looks like, okay, we have an angle here just quickly enough to win this fight before the rest of Dplus's cavalry arrive, but they're not able to do so. The dive fails. They try to aggressively posture bottom lane a second time. That also fails. And now Paulo, obviously flashless from the second to last engage, means that his next engage opportunity on potentially the Soul Point fight is also going to be a little bit less. So lots of L's here for Bro in the early game. Find themselves only 2,000 gold behind, but tempo is completely against them. Paulo loses a fourth of his health bar.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're desperately trying to get in here and challenge this Rift Herald. I mean, they're even going to redemption it, as it looks like it's just going to be up to the eye hit. It goes over to Lucid, barely. He's got a Mega Cone to get in and get the eye and get out as he's Jarvan. Nice little Mission Impossible play there from Lucid. DK, Showmaker's getting the bottom turret, they're getting the Rift Herald, they're winning all the fights.
If only Paulo had flash there, maybe he could have flash engaged, right? I mean, unironically, that's a huge loss for Bro. He's not quite able to find the angle he wants. They know Showmaker doesn't have TP, but he's pushing the top or the bottom turret, so if they don't deal with this Herald play, they're going to lose a turret and Herald, so they feel priced into it, but they're a little bit late to the play. They're not able to set up for it. They don't get the Herald. Showmaker gets the turret anyways, and they hard force for the 50-50, and it doesn't go their way, so nothing turning up Bro here in this early game, and Dplus looking like they're back in form.
Right on time, honestly. I mean, this is the last week of the regular season, so we finish this, they go straight into best of fives. And they have to have a lot of different picks ready. They have to be ready to not only deal with the play-ins teams, but also they should feel, as long as they're on form, that they should be a playoff team. And at this point in time, based on what we've seen out of them and out of Gnomeshin, we could definitely see them being there. But we'll have to wait and see. That's definitely a bit far in the future, at least a couple of weeks away.
No redemption for Blast Coners. Valdez says that all the time, but in this case, the Blast Cone denied either of them being hit by the redemption.
In this game, though, the Blast Cone usage has been very good. I've been actually very, very pleased. It's mostly been engaged. It's not like guys running away and just taking them for free because they were there. And, lack of interaction until it's just like some random RNG chance. And it's actually been, like, good Blast Cone usage, so I've actually enjoyed it myself this game, which is a rare sight.
It is. Rare sight and rare sounds to hear you admit it as well, but we have, occasionally heard Valdez be positive about it. Chemtech Dragon secured. Soul Point, again, not the end of the world for Bro. It's just everything else that's a bit in tatters.
Yeah.
The Orianna that's 0-0-1 that hasn't been able to make an impact in team fights, that's sitting on a 6-stack Rod of Ages is... it's not my favorite. Got him through the tougher parts of that lane, but otherwise hasn't been able to offer any burst. But I don't know what item he could have built here that would have changed how Bro are set up for these fights. Like, if he had Luden's Companion for the big boom boom, it wouldn't matter if he's not shockwaving anyone because they're just always behind on the play. And this is the comp that has the Sivir. This is the comp that has the Pantheon, and yet they're just still not able to set up for anything in this game. They've given up every single objective, not a grub to their name.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Sivir in the mid lane oftentimes getting prio and pushing waves really fast. Hype has not been able to step up to a single wave. Like, he's sitting here losing 1v1 to aiming because both the supports are roaming, and, the Rel is not really going to be able to threaten Corki ever. This is what happens when you blind pick the Rel again, as now we're going to get another Tempered Fate in. This Barrel wants to not take the redemption, actually. They want to just get away from this one. Morgan TP's into the fight, but he's not really doing anything, just has to run away.
Tipper's going to do a lot of damage on the zone here as well. Herald gets dropped here. This turret is just gone, and they might even be able to get the inner as well. They're grouped for it. Charge is going to go through. I thought perhaps they were going to try to deny the charge, Dplus that is, to kill the turret first and then look for a follow-up there. Instead, they back away. They don't have the Tempered Fate. And they just play a little bit safer here. Tipper's also down. but was very useful there to deny any follow-up. Hype gets second item IE here, has that one picked up, so has item parity with the Corki that will soon have item parity with him once he picks up the Muramana, which he's backing to buy right now. So 2 items apiece on 80 carries here is very, very strong for Bro in a lot of situations, but you know, it's the fact that they don't have prio. It's the fact that this Orianna can't do anything if she doesn't ever get into a position to be able to either zone with Shockwave or set up Morgan or Krako to carry the ball into the fight. And so that's the concerns I have here moving forward. This Chemtech Soul, not that valuable for this comp at all, really. Like, Lucid will get some value out of it. Shiu arguably gets some value out of it. But this is like best case scenario for Bro to be 0 and 3 on Dragons.
Yeah.
It just still feels like there's too many other problems, Valdez.
There are a lot of problems. I mean, they've lost kind of everything, and aiming is Omega strong now on his 2-item spike, and you know, Beryl with 2 Chemtech Drakes is going to be healing extra with the Redemption. Imagine that. As if he needed any extra for that OP item, as all the supports have declared it here at the LCK, the OP item. Everybody seems to build that now, or Mikhail's as their first item. Not a whole lot of locketing, feels like nowadays.
I remember Shirelius, remember that item?
Yeah, did see it. I think it was built yesterday as like a second item, or maybe it was last week. But yeah, I think that was like the first time in a long time. Just doesn't feel very common.
It's okay, you got Sivir. It's the next best thing. As Bro are going to have to do the Desperation Otacon where they try to set up for this. Their Sivir is not here. Closer is going to have to look for a big Shockwave to deny the approach here, and they just do not have enough vision here of the approach of Dplus to even look for that. They now kite away, but I think they're just going to have to back away from this entirely. If they hold this, they will regret it. Palu looking for a flank here, but is seen.
I mean, you're playing into Bard as well. Like, Beryl can set up this fight with an ult if need be, if you're going to get it very low. The engage, though, goes on a Showmaker, and the Temper Fate is late. Same time, though, Morgan just going to be picked off for some reason on the top side. Looks like Aiming and Lucid were able to catch him. Exhaust comes in on a Krako. Now massive Aurora ult on a 4. Catches everyone, and they try to turn on a Shiu. He just gets away, and the ticking damage is insane. Everybody's super low. Hype can't do enough. He has to be in melee range. Krako falls as well. And it's not a leash Otacon, but it's going to be Otacon still for DK on top of a gigantic fight.
The target selection very poor for Bro in the latter part of that fight, but you can see how you could use Otacon to turn like this onto someone like Showmaker. All the engages used, though, there's no peel for Morgan, and Aiming's damage is just obscene. So it's a trade 1-for-1 at the initial part of this fight, and then watching the follow-up here as Krako goes in kind of alone.
Oh.
The Aurora ultimate zones everyone away, and then watch how everyone kind of doesn't really know what to do next. And like, it's tough because you lose all 4 in every scenario, but maybe you get a trade kill if everyone calls one target. But they kind of all just hit whoever was closest to them and fell there in the end. I don't hate the Otacon call in its initial setup, but I think they stayed on it way too long.
Yeah, like you said, it was, you know, a bit of desperation. You can look for a turn, but the execution, man, it is Rise Group, baby, after all. That's just the way it goes sometimes. As now, we do have the Chemtech Soul up and available for DK if they win another fight here with Otacon, with this gigantic Goldie that they have for this point in the game, 6,000. You're feeling pretty good. Aiming is just Valkyrieing into Ambessa and not caring at all. Lucid looking for the kill now on a Morgan as he immediately turns that one around. Morgan gonna have the redemption as well. Misses his ult though. Shiu just runs in and dies. Does get a big ult himself, but now both the top laners down. Beryl is out, and that is not the ult we were looking for, Palu, as he is immediately just going to be pummeled by Lucid, and the damage from this Corki is just obscene as finally Showmaker gonna join the fight. Flash W's and gets the pick off, and that will be Chemtech Soul for DK.
And the fight looked kind of good there for Bro in its initial outset. I mean, Shiu got a lot done with his ultimate, but fell instantly. Beryl is also taken out, but this is the Bro that actually has the target selection, right? This is the Bro that is actually properly set up for this team fight, with the exception of Krako's stacks here. The flag and drag is actually insane. Gets the double, and then the redemption goes down, or sorry, the tempered fate. And they're able to focus Shiu down, but look at what's happening on the top side of this fight. As they chase Beryl down, Morgan does once again fall, and then this from Palu was a big miss. If he holds that and they actually group for the 4v3, I think there's a real chance of victory here. Showmaker also flashing in onto this Orianna. gets the flash out of hype as well. Does not want to be involved in that. So big summoners down across the board here for Bro now, and there's just no escape in that situation that went from bad to worse. And that Paulo engage, you know, if he just had a little bit more information, or if he was a little bit more patient, or maybe even wanted to use it defensively to help them retreat, like the fact that he has it means that Dplus can't chase as much there. There's so many better ways that could have gone for Bro, but instead it's Chemtech Soul, it's Baron on the cards here now, and with Paulo, no flash. No flashes for your carries.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you can actually contest this. I mean, Dplus are playing it safe. They're doing their due diligence and setting up deep vision around the pit, but at this point, I almost don't feel like they need to. You know, it's quite a bit of damage they have on their hands here as well, with even the Leandries for Shiu.
Yeah. There were a couple of interesting stats we showed as well, that Shiu has actually done more damage than aiming. I'm actually a bit surprised by that, but he has had some really huge ults. Also, that Croc goes down 2 levels on the Pantheon. You know, this is a big prio pick right now in the LCK. As speaking of which, the Pantheon is bot lane. We'll see if they can even kill Shiu. He's desperately trying to get to the other side. And yes, he goes down. But you're giving over this, as Paulo does have Smite.
He does have Smite. He will be able to potentially try to get over the wall here.
Pantheon has his ult, but I feel like it's a little bit too little too late. Paulo, it's going to come down to you as he goes over the wall, and it's not going to go to you at all, as Lucid is able to smite it down. Has the advantage there. The Shockwave, just desperation, as Dplus Kia, they give up their top laner for Baron.
That's not jungle Rel. That's not old damage to monsters Rel. Sadly for him. Okay.
Wait, not the best magical journey, but it's just okay. Closer just okay. He's dead up on the top lane, and meanwhile, Barrel actually baited this a little bit. We got Tibbers in here. Showmaker says, I can take the 1v4. It's fine.
Dplus?
I have Zhonya's, and the rest of the team is trying to come on over here, and by the rest of the team, I mean Lucid. And the TP is coming in. I suppose that's why he kept on going on this. No flag available for Lucid. Now he gets it back, as now we've got the Aurora back in the fight, and immediately it is going to be the long-term bait and switch here as triple kill comes through. And, well, the disengage cone does come in, but that's fine, as Dplus Kia will just push mid.
Every time it feels like in these drafts, Dplus have maybe made a bit of an overextension, maybe playing a little bit with their food. She was like, I got this. Gets a penta on the Nexus defense on this champ. This time around is going to win them the team fight, picks up a triple. And Dplus here, you know, with a responding Sivir in 20 seconds, can't kill the Nexus, I don't think, unless Bro make a mistake here on their attempted defense of this inhibitor, which they should absolutely let go. But this game is all but over. It has been for a while, but this is kind of the cherry on top here for Dplus at this point. And watch this play here once again. The collapse onto Closer. Just, you know, doesn't have any setup. No one's shadowing him. He has no vision protecting this this side laning. Over here, like, Barrel's just reminding everyone, not all who wander are lost, Valdez. Just getting some additional information for his team to then overextend so that Shiu can respawn in 10 seconds, TP behind them,
Yeah.
and win the fight. Showmaker's like, I'm buying time. Shiu, I'm big up him. My top laner, as in live, we're having a bit of a tussle. But I want to see Shiu clean up again. Oh, this is boring.
Oh, we got to see the Pantheon losing. You know, that's very important for morale here at the LCK. As the engage from Paulo once again not quite in, and the damage out of Shiu now is just disgusting. Level 17, big Shockwave comes in, but I think they're just a bit too far behind, as Barrel is eventually going to go down, but everybody else just gets blown to smithereens. It's a quadra for aiming at the end of this one, and that will be game number 1. Going the way of Dplus Kia. 11-0 was aiming on the Corki, who absolutely just took over the game. As that'll do it at 30 minutes, DK take the win.
Late season form here for Dplus is looking fantastic.